Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today in the review room we're going to take a look at The Walking Dead 10-inch Glenn action figure from McFarlane Toys. Now, previously we took a look at the 10-inch Rick Grimes. This is the bloody version. There's also the original non-bloody version, and then we took a look at the Michonne. Now, they released Rick, then they released Daryl, and then they released a bloody Rick and then a bloody Daryl. I was assuming they would follow suit and release a bloody Michonne. They have not. And I also thought since they first showcased Glenn with a screaming face, they would also make a bloody screaming face variant of Glenn. The Rick was a little different, and so was the Daryl. I believe there was just the blood and a bruised eye for Daryl. With Rick, it's a different arm. So I am not sure if we're going to get anything. So far, we have Rick, Daryl, Michonne, and Glenn for the 10-inch statues. Now let's take a look at the box, and we will open him right up. My Rick doesn't want to stand. It's so damn frustrating. Let's take a look at Glenn. Hopefully they give us a stand for him. Now here is the box. It pretty much looks like the same style they are using so far for all the 10-inch figures. Here's the new 5-inch Constable Rick that's coming out. These are all out. These are the 7-inch figures. Here's all the 10-inch. You can see at the top here, Rick, Daryl, Michonne, and Glenn. Now, with that said, I always suggest you guys do not open it on the face part, because if you open and close this flap and you want to display him later on, it'll crack the paint on his face. And there he is, Glenn with a knife, a gun, and we do get a stand. Alright, that's a little frustrating. You got a lot of sticky tape goo on there. You'll probably have to get that off later. If you have tape like this at home, you can actually take the sticky side, put it on, and it'll lift the tape right off. That's like a little trick. So try that if you got tape residue all over your base. Now, first up, we have his assault rifle. Be super careful. I can already tell this material is really fragile. I have a feeling that will harden up eventually and then crack and break off. I know with my Michonne, I only moved them to dust them, and this piece broke off, and I didn't even really do anything with it, so I'm not sure what caused that to happen, but again, be super careful with these accessories. There's some fantastic detail. It's a little bent, if you can see. You have to heat it up with a hair dryer, but there are some great detailing here. Some nice dry brush. We have some tape stuck on there, some goo. We'll have to get that off, but the gun looks pretty damn cool. Next up, the knife also has some very good detail to it. I like that. I like that. That's nice. Get rid of that annoying plastic, and we'll take a look at Glenn here. He looks pretty good. I will say right off the bat, when I first got introduced to these 10-inch figures, I can see where you had some flaws. You know what I mean? But for the likeness, that's nice. You just put his knife right in that little holster there. For the likeness, I was pretty impressed. I'm like, okay, this is really good. That fits really nice in his holster, by the way, that knife. But yeah, the likenesses were very impressive. I liked it. I liked them a lot. However, now that the 7-inch are out, they are not as impressive. His face, it's good. It looks like the actor. It's probably one of the best likenesses we have right now of Glenn. I'm going to say definitely. That is the best likeness so far of Glenn. The problem, though, the 7-inch figures, sculpt and paint-wise, are just as good. So it leaves me a little mystified on how the 10-inch figures do not have better sculpt and better paint. This looks like a 7-inch that was just blown up to a 10-inch. You know what I mean? But like I said, best likeness so far with Glenn. We have his hand positions. Obviously, they will stay in one spot only. You won't be able to move him around a lot. You might be able to get him holding it down and then up. We'll have to put his gun in and see. And he's got a little hunch in his shoulders, but I think that is good because if you have him aiming the right way, we'll have to put his gun in and look. But nice sculpt work, nice paint work where the holster, the shirt, the wrinkles, again, McFarlane Toys, they do clothing and weathering very well. And they got a nice simple design with his shirt and his pants. You got cargo pockets here. Nice wrinkling. There is a very limited amount, it's pretty stiff, a limited amount of articulation in the ankles. Do not mess with the ankles much. I've noticed that with the other two figures. Only move them slightly to get them in the right position so they'll stand up. If you play with them too much, like Rick, I played with his ankles just to show you guys for the review if there was articulation. Like, all I did was this, you know? And ever since then, his ankles are too wobbly, you know? So keep them nice and stiff because these figures are top heavy. So when you set them up, you want them to be able to stand. Now, this guy looks like he stands pretty good without the base, but he's got a hole on his left foot, so you can pop the foot on the base, and I think these figures, all of them, should come with a base. Unfortunately, Rick Grimes doesn't have a hole or a base, so I gotta make sure I have him standing right, but I think this is great that he comes with a base. So that is Glenn with an empty holster here. I know that's such a shame. I don't know why they couldn't put a gun in the holster. I'm assuming it's screen accurate. If it's screen accurate, I don't think I have a problem with it. You know, if that's what the scene was, then okay, whatever. And I think this is actually taken from season 5, where they were going to check out the RV that Aaron was going to use to bring them back to Alexandria. So we're going to take his little strap here. We're going to make sure we don't get it hung up on anything. Let's move his arm out of the way. Yeah, we're going to do that. Move his arm down. We're going to slide his hand in ever so nicely. We don't want to mess anything up. Some of these figures are pretty fragile. You don't want to manhandle them. You'll break something on it, and then you'll have to return the bastard. The one good thing is if you warm up the hands, if you warm up this hand, I just pushed it in there, but I really like that. I don't know how close you can see in that trigger, but he actually holds that trigger really well, but it's a little stiff getting it in there. So use a blow dryer if you got it, or warm water. Warm up this hand so that way you can get it in there without breaking anything off. Take this little strap, kind of get it out of the way so you don't get it caught on something and rip it. And then I'm assuming you just take this hand and work it up. Work it, Glenn, work it. Alright, there. So it pops into place. Again, it's a little stiff. Be careful with it. You might want to hit it with a blow dryer, but that actually looks pretty damn good. I like that. Yeah, that looks really good. Look at that. Yep, I'm going to have to say that looks pretty damn good. Best likeness of Glenn so far. He's in a pretty cool pose. It's ripped right from the TV show. Again, I don't know about the holster, but it's definitely screen accurate as far as this is from a scene that was in the actual show. So fans who want to display this, if you're a big fan of Glenn, you will probably love this. I found this at Toys R Us, and I believe it's on sale right now. Brand new, just came out maybe a week ago-ish, give or take, 2 weeks ago. You can find it at Toys R Us, Amazon, stuff like that. I think Walmart maybe. I don't know. I've heard fans talk about finding these at Walmart. I never see these at my Walmart, so I think that's going to be a hit or miss. I don't ever find these big ones at Walmart or Target around my way. I only see them at Toys R Us, and I rarely see them at that. That being said, this Glenn was stocked. I think there was 5 boxes, brand new, that just got put out We got the usual good detail done on the feet. The sculpt and wrinkles done really well on the clothes, the pants, all the way front and back. The knife holster, this is real pliable, so that fits in there nice and smooth. Wrinkles on the shirt. The sculpt on the back looks fantastic. The holster, the paint job, everything looks great. Back of his head. And pretty much no matter where you put this guy, he looks good. Yeah, you know what? I am really glad they did not do the screaming face, at least for this one. If they want to do a variant with the screaming face, that's absolutely fine. But I would prefer, at least for the initial release, to be just like this. I'm really happy with this. This is great. He's going to look pretty damn cool next to Rick and Glenn. Rick and Michonne. And one thing I do want to say, though, it looks weird for the back of him when I look at it close, that the folds where the wrinkles are, where the waves are, it's not painted. It doesn't have the stripes. It's like the stripes disappear. So that's actually pretty strange looking on the back. It's just out of place. But I do not plan on displaying him where you can see his back at all. He's going to go display just like this. And as you can see, he doesn't even need the stand. I'm definitely recommending the stand, though, because the last thing you want is for this sucker to fall off a shelf and shatter something, break his face before Negan comes, you know. Hopefully they'll release a Negan, Abraham, Glenn, ultra epic $90, you know, 3-pack where they're both bashed in. No, that would be a waste of, that would be a waste. But hopefully we'll get a 7-inch setup where we can have a Death Abe and Death Glenn. That would be great. Well, this looks fantastic. I like this. Let me know what you guys think about these 10-inch figures. If you have them, if you do not, I do recommend them. They are great. Like I said, though, now with the 7-inch figures coming out, I don't see that much of a dramatic difference between the sculpt and the paint from the 7 to the 10. I see some differences. I see some things that are detailed a lot better, like with the gun and some of the outfit. On Michonne, there's some details that they did really good on the 7-inch, but on the 10, they're just a little bit better, especially on the scabbard. With Glenn, the face, that's the most important part as far as the likeness is concerned. And I feel like the likeness on both Glenn and Michonne and Rick, now that I'm thinking about it, these likenesses can be achieved in the 7-inch. The 7-inch size. So, not really sure if they're going to continue with this 10-inch. If I had to place my bets, I would have to say it's either going to be one figure a year, which they started out doing roughly 2 figures a year, I believe, but I don't know. I don't see these continuing, which is a shame because it would be definitely cool to have at least the main cast as 10-inch action figures. Anyway, give me your thoughts and opinions. If you could pick one 10-inch figure to come next, obviously a lot of fans are going to pick Negan. I would have to pick Negan as well. But I tell you what, we deserve a good Carol figure. I know we got a shitty one in the 5-inch, and I think Carol as a wolf with interchangeable heads where you can put the bandana on and then the bandana off, I think that would be an outstanding 10-inch figure. With that said, guys, this is the 10-inch Glenn Reeve from The Walking Dead by AMC and McFarlane Toys. Thanks for stopping by the review room. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Subscribe now.